I'm positive Autumn heard him because she presses her mouth into a thin line. I'm not sharing a bed with you losers. That crosses a line. Oh, sure. Ditch school, impersonate a police station secretary, ambush a witness, get kicked out of a diner, steal security footage, cause an old lady emotional distress, and stay out all night. That's all on the up and up. But sleeping in the same bed as a boy is where she finds an uncrossable line. And today, for Jenn's episode, we are discussing That's Not My Name by Megan Lally?
Yeah, that's how I would say it.
Okay. So, a quick synopsis. There are two POVs. One is Drew, and one is, and I say in quotations, Mary. And both of these POVs are happening parallel, but in different situations, because in this book, you have a girl that has gone missing, and then you have her boyfriend who's being blamed for her going missing. And so you have the two parallel points of views that are happening at the same time until they converge, like in the last like 2 or 3 chapters at the end of the book, where they come together, and then you figure out who's who, what's happened. All the secrets are revealed.
Yep.
Except for like one. I think there's one secret that isn't revealed, but we'll get to that.
What? Okay.
We can start with that. So, my understanding of the book is that Wayne Boone, so he's the kidnapper. So, I'll give an extensive snippet, I guess. His daughter, Mary, died, Mary Boone, because apparently he either killed her or pushed her down the stairs or whatever. Her neck was snapped. So, we don't actually know how she died because Wayne ends up dead at the end of the book. But what he was doing is he was stuck in this psychosis of he had to save his daughter. So he would find young girls who looked like his daughter, who were practically, semi-twins, and not necessarily live in the same lifestyle that Mary was, of going out, sneaking out, hanging out with boys, drinking, whatever, because her dad was very conservative and was like, locked her up essentially.
Yeah.
But Drew's girlfriend, Lola, is one of his victims. But the thing that I don't understand is, did they find her body? Did they?
Who, Lola?
Yeah, because it didn't make sense to me if they found her body. Because apparently she died the same night. Like, she died within a few hours of her going missing, according to what Madison tells Drew, because he stalks the girls a few weeks before he takes them. And he had already started stalking Madison like the next day that Lola had gone missing. And then Drew goes to the lake to celebrate her birthday, but not the cemetery. And I just didn't know, because it never talks about having a funeral or burying her body, if they actually found Lola's body. Because if Lola died as soon as she was kidnapped, I'm assuming he didn't make it to the cabin with her.
No, he did make it to the cabin with her, because part of how you find out it wasn't Lola is Lola's name is on the wall.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah,
Never mind.
That's how it all ends up getting connected. Now, I feel like they said the bodies were in the woods.
I know they found some bodies. Yeah.
But I don't remember the specifics on like what happened with Lola and like the funeral and that kind of thing. I don't know if they didn't go into detail because like they just felt it was unnecessary.
Yeah, it would have been unnecessary.
Like, we don't spend any time with her parents, so like we don't really have like the insiders look as like into her actual investigation or how things wrap up or anything else. You only get Drew's point of view.
Right. Which I really liked, having the point of view of somebody who was living through the kidnapping, but like wasn't immediate, wasn't actually the kidnapper or the victim. Yeah. It was nice to kind of see that struggle and that guilt and like, what can I do? I'm just going to keep on doing flyers because I'm not giving up. And like, is it really helping? Probably not, but I have to feel like I'm contributing in some way. And I feel like most people who are in that situation feel that way. Like, what can you do? So I have a confession to make.
Okay.
You're not going to like it.
I'm sure I won't.
But after I stopped texting you all my updates because I was getting irritated, I read the last chapter.
Yeah, I figured. And then
I was like, okay, this makes sense. And then I was able to sit and enjoy the book a lot more than being irritated with all the stupid decisions that they were making. I really liked Max. At first, I was very skeptical of Max. And I was like, nobody's like this supportive. And like, I'm thinking, watching Criminal Minds, they always insert themselves into the investigation. So this is like our version of seeing Max in the investigation. And then I thought her parents had sold her to somebody because, they're very conservative too. And they didn't want her having a car or doing all these things. And then I thought she had a split personality because I told Jenn, I was like, the Mary that we're seeing, her attitude and her nature isn't matching up, and her memories aren't matching up with what she told Drew, right? Because that's the perspective that we're getting. We're getting Mary, who turns out to be another girl named Madison, and we're getting Drew's perspective. I'm like, this isn't matching up. So like, is she like psycho and like trying to do this to like get him to stay with her? Things like that. And then finally, after I don't know, after the police station, but I think before they made it to Alton, I had already read the last chapter. And another thing that I really enjoyed about this was that it showed that police officers, regardless if they're good or bad, can get narrow-minded. Like once they say like, this is it, then this is it. And I'm not looking at any other things. And that's really sad because I feel like that happens quite a bit. Like if evidence is portrayed or brought up to them that is outside of the theory that they have come up with, well, then it's not worth looking into. And this was a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Because definitely. I'm thinking every single lead, like Drew and Autumn and Max are doing, like every single lead, like they were looking into it because you never know.
Right.
Like you just don't. So, okay. I'm happy to share the microphone with you now. Let's say hog it.
No, you're fine.
So what drew you to this book?
I was just on a thriller, like psycho thriller kick. Typically, if I don't want to read romance or romantasy, then that's my go-to genre is thriller, psycho thriller, murder mystery, that kind of thing. Because that's what initially got me into reading for the most part. Like I used to read like horror as a teenager, like teen horror. And then I also read a lot of like Mary Higgins Clark, that sort of thing. So it was just one of those books that happened to be available in Libby. And once I started it, I could not put it down. And I had read A Flicker in the Dark, and then there was another, Ask for Andrea. I kind of read these 3 books within the same like week, 10 days, something like that. And Flicker in the Dark and Ask for Andrea, I've seen all over the place. Like I've seen them recommended again and again. Hadn't seen That's Not My Name one time. And it's so much better than like either of the other books, in my opinion, my humble opinion. But that was the initial draw. It was available. It was in the genre that I was interested in reading. And the story, I guess I was just kind of curious about it. And then once I got started, there was no putting it down. I think I finished it because it's actually available on Kindle Unlimited, which I forgot about until this morning. Because I totally could have, like, you didn't have to go to the library. You could have just read it on KU.
No. I I needed the physical book so I could flip
Oh,
through.
the physical. Gotcha.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been able to do it on the ebook.
Kindle. But I think like it was such a good story. And then once the twist happened and it ended up not being Lola, like it became, I don't know. I think I actually appreciated it more that it didn't get like a happy ever after that I was hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
Because and the reason I think it makes the book better is because you I think the author did a really good job of creating a very enthralling kind of like, I don't see three teenagers trying to solve this type of crime. So wasn't outlandish, but it was definitely, it felt like out of the realm of possibility. So I feel like you were able to enjoy it. But then she flips it on its head in the last, if you include the epilogue, in the last like 20%, I would say, where you, like, everything goes to shit. Like, Mary Madison gets put in the basement. You find out the girls' names. You're thinking this whole time, for unless you were specifically looking for clues, and I wasn't, you're thinking this whole time that Drew's getting closer and closer to saving his girlfriend. And then he opens the door, like the hatch of the basement, this like the cellar entry, I guess. And it's revealed that like she doesn't recognize him at all. And within moments, he recognizes that it's not Lola. And then I think the author, not I don't feel like it was a bait and switch, but I feel like she created the reality of what young girls getting kidnapped in. But I think she did a really good job of taking a really really good story and then putting it into a very realistic perspective on what life looks like after someone you love gets kidnapped and unfortunately for Lola murdered. And it's a all too real reality. And I think she did a really good job of creating a really good, entertaining story and then pairing it with a very stark reality.
Yeah, it was very light and fluffy for the kind of topic that it's about.
I mean, it was. And I think I think that's what makes it poignant in the
Mm-hmm.
end, because you're, I think it allows you to get lost in a story, like this fictional happening that you're a part of. At least for me, at the end of the epilogue, I was sobbing because like Drew's reality is the reality that so many people experience. And I don't know, it really, it just made me think at the end of
Mm-hmm.
it. And typically I don't like books that make me think, but this one was done so well that I didn't mind it. And I think most people should read this book.
Mm-hmm. I liked that, kind of going about, talking about how it's like undeniable but like real, was that, so to give more context, this Mary, the reason why it flows so well is because she ends up in a car accident, I say in quotations, and when Wayne comes to find her, she has amnesia. So, but he has like documentation and like the birth certificate to say that this is Mary Boone, because he's been specifically looking for people that's his daughter. So the small town police, after they've looked at the birth certificate and like a high school ID and stuff, determine that it's okay to release her. But as she's living with Wayne she questions things. I like that she wasn't gullible. Now she doesn't question everything verbally out loud because she's like, this doesn't feel right. Her instincts are saying like, don't do this, or you need to do this, or you need to look at this, or pay attention to this. So being in her head as she's trying to navigate, if he's my father, how does he not know I'm allergic to strawberries? Or Officer Bowman came to the door. Why would he lie and say that it's not Officer Bowman? Like, just like little things, like nothing too out there, but it was just enough to be like, okay, she's starting to realize she's trusting her instincts. I liked that part about it, but I also liked how she alleviated some of the guilt from Drew, because I feel like that's very important when things like these when things like this happens, unless you are like in cahoots with the kidnapper, shit just happens. And Madison told him, like, it doesn't matter if you guys would have gotten to that argument beforehand. He was hunting her. He would have took her at another time.
Yeah.
So
I do think that was really important for Drew's character development, and not necessarily absolving him of the guilt, but certainly giving him something to hold on to, and recognizing like, this wasn't your fault. Like, you had a typical teenage reaction to a highly emotional evening, and there wasn't anyone that was going to stop him from taking Lola at one point or another. It just happened that was the night that ended up being the most convenient at the time.
I didn't grow up in a small town. I know people who lived in small town. I've been to small towns. I did not like how they turned on Drew, and then all of a sudden they were buddy-buddy with Drew. And he didn't like that either. And I was very appreciative of him not just allowing people to still like forgive them for what they did.
Yeah.
I would have been like, nah. I'd have been raging.
Yeah.
The coach, now he doesn't get a scholarship to go to college. Like, all the things that they did to fuck up his life because the sheriff, who's a douche canoe, can't do his damn job.
Yeah.
Ugh, that irritated me so much. The teacher irritated me. They all irritated me. All of them.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it shows that mob mentality too, and that's typical for a small town. I mean, it's typical for any like real group of individuals. I'm glad. I think at the end Drew was saying he was leaving to go somewhere else, and that kind of thing, which I was really glad about. I'm also glad that him and Madison stayed in touch, because I feel like I think he needed, in order for him to heal and move on, he needed to know that his efforts weren't in vain, and they weren't. Like, they ended up saving somebody else.
Yeah. In my mind, I like to imagine that later down in life that Madison and Drew get together.
Well, obviously that's what happens, and they live happily ever after.
Yep. And he never lets her check the mail. It's a running joke with him. And never lets her check the mail.
I love that. Oh, I love that.
It's a running joke. Yeah. And then when they have their first kid, that kid is never allowed to check the mail either.
Yeah. No, I that's certainly the ending that would not have hurt my feelings at all. But I also like that Megan left it not necessarily ambiguous. Like, I feel like she did a good job of hinting to that could happen down the road without it feeling like she puts a bow on it. Because I feel like you can't, I like that she didn't put a bow on this story. I like that you are left with the heartache and the anguish and despair that Drew is still navigating, but now he has the support of his friends and the woman, the girl he ended up saving in order to move on. And I feel like it leaves you knowing Drew is heading in a positive direction, but doesn't negate the trauma that happened.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't want them to be together right after the fact, because then it would be like, well, is he only with her because she looks like Lola? No, I need it to be at
Yeah.
least after college. Maybe they go to the same college, or they're college or rivals, and so like they see each other at like sporting events or like whatever.
I
and
love
then
that
so
you're
there's
turning this into
yeah,
like a I don't know, rescuer to lover or something.
absolutely. So that kind of keeps that they're in touch, but not like having conversations every day, right? And so they see each other both growing and healing and like moving on from it. And then one night, a year after graduation, they run into each other. And there's no rivalry of school or nothing in the way. And maybe they have lunch or they have a drink, and they just catch up and talk and talk. And next thing you know, it's like 2:00 in the morning. He's like, let me walk you home, because you ain't going home by yourself, because you're not getting kidnapped again. And or maybe he runs into her while she's at work, wherever she works, and she's working the night shift or something, and he walks her home just to still kind of like be that protector. And then one thing leads to another. And in 3 years, they're married. And another 2 years, they got their first kid. If they even want kids. Maybe they don't want kids after that. I'm okay. Maybe they adopt, like Drew's dad's adopted him. They adopt.
Yeah.
That's my ending for them.
I love it.
Yeah. Or maybe they don't get together, but they're really close, like siblings. And so they're constantly in each other's lives, aunt and uncle to each other's kids if they get other spouses. I just feel like sometimes it's easier to be with somebody who understands the trauma than trying to be with somebody who doesn't, and they don't understand why you wake up screaming in the middle of the night, or you don't like to go in the basement because you were locked in the basement for a while. And, there's like, I just don't understand. That was 10 years ago. Why aren't you over it?
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. And I was looking for the signs because I needed to know who did it.
So were you surprised when it wasn't Lola?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I had a feeling. I'm trying to think. I think she mentioned like she was really athletic or something like that, and I was just like, but I was too caught up in like the story for it to really take me off guard, or for it to not take me off guard, because I remember like listening to it. I think I was out in the barn like doing chores and stuff, and I stopped and I was like, God damn it. That is not what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And then as I listened to Drew's epilogue, which I loved that we only got his point of view for the epilogue.
Yes.
Like, I love Madison. I'm glad she made it, but like also don't care about your point of view because Drew's my boy. Drew's my baby. I just want to hug my baby. So like hearing his point of view, hearing all of it, just
plus
it just did such a great job wrapping it up.
Up until, if you think about it, up until Madison gets her memory back, she's an unreliable narrator.
Yeah.
So having her perspective at the end, I don't think would have had the same effect because of that distrust from reader to character. And plus we needed Drew's because we've been with him from the beginning.
Yeah. I think the authors did a really good job of creating, like, writing Drew's character too.
Yeah. So here were some thoughts that I had also while I was reading the book. At first, I thought Drew's perspective was at the very beginning of Lola's kidnapping. I don't know when I realized that it was actually like 5 weeks in, I think, until Drew was like, it's been 5 weeks and nothing's happened. So then I was like, okay, with Mary, it says day one. Is it day one because she doesn't have her memories? Or is it day one because this is the first day that he's had her? Right. So then I was like, okay, so are we seeing Mary at the beginning of the kidnapping and Drew's at the end? Like the timeline kind of didn't line up until they saw or they got that when I messaged you and I was like, oh, that lady's hopefully going to call the tip line. I was like, okay, so now they are happening concurrently. So then what happened in the 5 weeks before that that caused Mary to lose her memory, right? So I was like, okay, maybe she tried to escape and hit her head or fell down the ravine, you know, and that's why trauma. She's been with this dude for 5 weeks. That's why she doesn't remember. But then, like, I messaged you, like, what she was saying about what Drew was telling us that she was saying about her parents versus the memory that Mary was having about, you know, being close to her mom. I was like, that doesn't add up. And then the fact that she only ever saw her mom in her memories was a thing too. But what was the other thing?
Yeah.
There was one other thing that I was just like, and I think I might have messaged you. Is it set up to make us believe that that Mary is Lola because we know that that's the girl that's kidnapped? Because I was like, I'm just assuming that it's her because that's how it's set up, but maybe it's not.
Right.
There was something else that kind of triggered it, but I didn't know until I actually read the end. I was like, oh, okay. I enjoyed it so much better after I read the ending. I mean, I still enjoyed it because I was like on the seat of my pants. I was like, I need to know what the fuck is happening. And one thing that really pissed me off was I don't understand why Drew trusted the sheriff. This is the person here's the thing. Regardless of this power of authority and his job description, you know that this person is actively lying about you. This person is trying to sabotage you. Why would you trust them?
Yeah.
And I wish we would have gotten maybe just a little bit more on his persecution because I don't feel like the sheriff suffered enough.
Yeah, he was able to. No, he didn't suffer at all. He was able to pass it off like he solved it, and then he got some like role in a documentary or something for.
Yeah, he's consulting for the studio.
Yes. Yeah. No, he's a piece of shit. Fuck him.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it. It was really good. I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if I had read it and not listened to it. I mean, I think
back and forth between Kindle and audio because I just couldn't put it down.
Yeah. I don't know. I think having those characters have personality that weren't, you know, in my brain.
Yeah.
Helped. But Max became my favorite character.
Max is pretty great.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not afraid. I'll punch Ted Bundy for you.
And I mean, and Autumn really came in clutch at the end too. Like what she really understood that Drew had nothing to do with Lola's disappearance, then I mean she had his back. Yeah. And was like managed to get him into the sheriff's department and all of that fun stuff. Also her creating such a fuss over pizza at her dad's work had me rolling. I was like,
and the internet, she's like, I'm on my period.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. That was so great.
Yeah. And Drew's like, she needs to become an actress because this is great, whether this is real so pent up emotion or if she's just throwing it on the spot.
Yeah. And I like that her and Max were together at the end of it. I thought that was
I do too. Cool. That's the little love story that we got.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else we want to touch on before we wrap?
I don't think so. It was very good. It's kind of gotten me. I used to read a lot of young adult kidnapping books, like Stolen and Left Behind, and it almost makes me kind of want to get back into that. I miss a good thriller.
Wait, like Left Behind series?
No, there's this
Okay, no. Just checking.
There's a Left Behind series?
Like, that can't be. Yeah. Yeah. It's a Christian series. Don't read it.
Oh, okay. No, it's let's see. Oh, apparently that's not the name of the book. Have you
That's
ever
on my list.
read Stolen?
No.
You
Like I
might
said,
enjoy
I
that.
normally try and stay away from
Kid
books that
kidnappings?
are not necessarily kid kidnappings, although yes, I don't read anything that involve kids because I have a kid and I can't. But I typically stay away from like real life. I like thrillers like Freida McFadden that's like so out of the realm of possibility it's stupid.
Let's
I'm
see
I normally have to
this.
be I normally have to be pretty cognizant of what I read, and I can't normally read a lot of them. Like I was on a Karen Slaughter kick for a good while. I read like I don't know 5 or 6 of her books back to back, and ended up like because hers are very like I would say hyper realistic, and
Okay.
I can't handle a lot of those, and it's not even kids. It's just women in her books most of the time.
Yeah. So I'm not seeing it, but I read a book called Dead to You by Lisa McMahon. Ugh, I love Lisa McMahon. And it's essentially the a young boy had been kidnapped, but then like 5 years later, whatever, he shows up. You know, he'd been missing and he shows up and it's like trying to like integrate back into your normal life before you were kidnapped.
Hmm.
So that's really good. Stolen by Lucy Christopher is really good. I don't really want to say too much on that because there might be some spoilers on that. And then like Living Dead Girl by Elizabeth Scott. And there was another one about being left behind. And it's literally some of these books are just either transitioning from out of being kidnapped or adapting to being in the life of being kidnapped, I guess. Don't ask me why I read
Hmm.
these books. I worked at Borders. I was trying to read things that people were buying and, you know, to be able to talk about the books. So, though that's was and I think these books also were kind of I don't know if they came out before or after or around the same time that 13 Reasons Why. So there were a lot of books that were kind of like coming out with real life scenarios and fiction. So there was another book about a young woman who gives birth to her baby and like puts it in the dumpster or leaves it, you know, and like what happens after that. So you get to see like the trials and tribulations of that and stuff. So I was just trying to read, but I think this was a really great pick, Jen. I
Thanks.
enjoyed it. I devoured it in 2 settings, so
That's awesome.
I would have finished it sooner, but I had some stuff I had to take care of.
Oh, it's no big deal. So, are we ready to rate?
Yes, we are.
Sweet. All right.
Darkness.
So, darkness
A
2.
2?
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, the things that happen in this book are awful, but they're not explicit. They're not. A lot of it doesn't happen on page.
Nope.
You know that kind of thing. So,
Yeah, there was no essay, which I was very
obviously,
glad about.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And no spice. Obviously, this wasn't a spicy read.
Yep.
Look, Jen can do a not spicy read.
Yes, you can. So does that mean it's for the spicy, it's just a bell pepper? Or are we doing a feather? It's a feather. We'll just say a feather.
Yeah. Yeah.
Feather. Okay.
Non-existent.
Yep. And then overall,
I mean, it was a 5-star read for me. I could see myself listening or reading to this again. I wouldn't do it. The only reason I wouldn't do it is because I don't want to cry like that again. But if I wanted to just experience a similar story, then I would read. Like I would listen or read it again.
I'd give it a 3.5. I liked it. It was good. I definitely recommend it to people. I'm not giving it a 4 because I don't personally think I would reread it.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm doing a 3.5. But it's definitely worth the read for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And
anything else before I close? Yeah.
Nope. We're good.
All right. Okay. So, have you read That's Not My Name by Megan Lally? We would love to hear from you. Or are there other psychological thrillers that you think we should add to our list? Let us know on Instagram at Bones of the Story, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us on the journey into the shadows of love, where dark romance stories come to light.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Bones of the Story as much as we did. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Your feedback means the world to us.
And to stay updated on all things dark romance, follow us on social media. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
We'd also love to hear from you. Share your thoughts, ideas, or even your own dark romance stories with us. Drop us a line at bonesofthestory@gmail.com.
Remember, our next tantalizing episode is just around the corner, so keep your hearts open and your senses sharp.
Until then, embrace the darkness and let the stories continue to stir your deepest desires.
This is Misty
and Jenn,
signing off from Bones of the Story.